Hi there, this is John Felix, or the Battlerite Profiler. Season 2 of the BPL is underway, and I thought it would be a nice way to kick things off by taking a look at the groups for both EU and NA and just get my feel on how they look. I actually saw the groups like 24 hours before they were announced, and I have been super duper excited to talk about this and to see how these groups play out ever since, but I just haven't had time to make a video before now. But let's get into it now then. In North America, the groups became very even and actually quite open, I'd say. I mean, SSG and Youngsung are obviously favorites to win their respective groups. Aside from that though, I think many teams have a good chance to grab themselves a really nice spot going into playoffs. For me, the biggest question mark is Team Psy. I don't know much about this team or these players, but we'll have to see. I'd say if there's one team to keep an extra eye on aside from SSG and Youngsung, I'd say it's Atrocity Exhibition. I felt like this team was finding their footing more and more the longer Season 1 progressed, and they've not made any roster swaps coming into Season 2, so chances are they've just kept on improving. That's actually all I'll say about NA right now, because, like I said, very even groups, very open groups. I think we'll have much reason to return to NA after the season has been going on for a while, and we'll see how these teams are doing. Moving on to EU then, here things are a lot more dicey than in NA. If we look back at how groups looked in Season 1, we had one group with Impact, Gatekeepers, Weedham Boys, and Pulstrunk, and the other group we had Game On, now known as Teen Hyped, Dolos, E United, and Functional Sociopaths. While the first group had what people expected to be two of the best teams in the league, the second one was extremely tight, extremely even. I think a lot of people would have agreed with me back then that Functional Sociopaths were definitely one of the favorites to win their group. They ended up fourth. That just gives you an idea about how tough that group turned out to be. But if someone considered that to be a group of death, in this season we have another one, and I'd say it's even worse. In Group A of the EU BPL, we have E United, we have Dolos, we have Gatekeepers, and Weedham Boys. First of all, let's talk about Weedham Boys. With Lorio, Bloodsassin, and Buse, I felt kinda bad for this team in Season 1. They were in a group with Impact, Gatekeepers, and Pulstrunk, like I said. And, I mean, they were clearly better than Pulstrunk, right? But they were not at the level of Gatekeepers and Impact. So they were never really going to end up anywhere but third place. So in a way, their group stage was kind of over before it started, which was, kind of boring. But in this season, I have to say, I feel even worse for this team. They're in a very similar situation, only there's no bad team in this group now. Instead of being locked for third team right away, I'd say these guys are kind of locked in for fourth. John, you might say, what about E United? They only finished third in their group last season. Why wouldn't Weedham Boys be able to take some games off of them? Well, like I've mentioned earlier in this channel, we're not seeing the same E United that we saw in Season 1. They've actually made a roster swap. We have Randler in instead of Naraga, and from what I've heard, that swap seems to work really well for the team, and they're actually doing well in scrims. So I said right away that I think that on paper E United looks well, and from what I'm hearing, things are actually going well also. So I think that we are going to see a stronger version of E United than we saw in Season 1. Now, I'm definitely giving Weedham Boys the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, this is by no means a bad team in European standards. And who knows, they may have become even better since we saw them play last time. And to be fair, we haven't seen this new E United play, so we don't know how much of an improvement this actually is. Okay, but enough about Weedham Boys. Let's talk about these other three teams, because it's this chunk of these three teams that make this Group A a real killer group. Okay, it's it's a group of death. There's no other way to say this. We have Gatekeepers with Rutha, Hot Biscuit, and Jolts. We have Dolos with your Nightmare, Jurgen, and Clerney. And we have E United with Strimia, Excafu, and Randler. So to add a little background, Gatekeepers looked like the strongest team in EU for the entire group stage of Season 1. Dolos, however, showed up big in playoffs and faced Gatekeepers in one of the best Battlerite matches I have ever seen. They took them down, and by doing so, they punched their tickets for LAN. So what we know about this group is that it'll be very hard to know how this group will end up. With groups such as these that are so tight, so even, just losing one game can seal the fate for a team entirely in this group stage and go from being a contender for first to being locked into third or fourth maybe. So needless to say, it's going to be very exciting to see this team play and watch how this group shakes out. Just to quickly mention Group B of EU, we have Team Hyped, formerly known as Game On. We have Impact, we have Unlucky, and You Choose. Impact is also one of the best teams in EU. They're definitely favorites for these groups, and Game On, last season's Game On, who are now Team Hyped, did really well in their group stage. If they can do that again, I think they shouldn't have much problems picking up second. I think You Choose is also a very good team. We have Naraga, we have Throat Puncher, formerly known as Verosk, and Corrupted. The thing is, as you'll see here, they're starting with a -2 point penalty because they've had to reschedule a game. So that puts them in a worse situation, of course, which will make it harder for them to contend for second in this group. I think no team should get first. No team other than Impact, that is. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Unlucky and You Choose perform. But just how things look now, I think Impact will win that group. Team Hype takes second, and You Choose and Unlucky will battle it out for third. I'm also very interested to hear what you guys think about these groups, so talk to me on Reddit or in the comments section, find me on Twitter, and just talk to me about the BPL because I love that. Until next time, have a great day.